Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sharon Roberson Pender, President and CEO of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council, here just to welcome and greet you for our session today for our AI as Business Infrastructure. Um, I was about to say season two, session number two. And before we get started, I just wanted to share a couple things with you about what's going on. This is today a part of a series that we are engaging in relative to emerging markets and technologies. And so let us know, what do you think about it? But I would bet that hopefully that you were able to attend the first session, and today is session number two. But before we get right into the session, there are some things that, the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council, I have a team that's second to none, and we are always doing something in partnership with the City of Baltimore. We are presenting with the Mayor's Office of Small and Minority Business Advocacy and Development on June 4th from 9 until 3 at the Baltimore Convention Center, a again small business advancement conferences. What does that entail? It entails over 100 vendors, meaning that they're state, federal, local government agencies, major corporations. We even, for the first year, are introducing a reverse trade show effect featuring our smaller minority businesses in a couple of rows. Um, and we have on main stage a pitch mania. And so if you think you're big and bad enough, come on and try to win a prize. It is your elevator pitch. You're going to get some feedback on it. And if you have an idea and just want to run it past and see how it lands, come and do a 1 minute video pitch. And in order to qualify, you'll see the instructions in front of you. Submit a 1 minute video to the link that's below. You see the QR code, and there will be judges in the before on June 4th to review and score your submission. And then we will select 3 to 5 finalists per categories so that they can then present on the stage their elevator pitch, and you will actually stand in front of an elevator. But 1 minute pitches, 3 categories. If you just have an idea or concept, come on, startup. That's a category. If you've been in business 1 to 5 years, that's the second category. If you're in business 5+ years, that's another category. And you may want to, if you're in business over 5 years or whatever, you may want to pitch an idea where you're thinking about taking your business. But come on and join us. And there are some prizes, and there'll be a crowd favorite, whatever. But June 4th, City of Baltimore, in partnership with them at the Baltimore Convention Center, please join us. We have a series of webinars. We're always in the education and training mode. Our AI series, you're joining this one today. I'll come back to that. But we have a cybersecurity training series starting June 23rd. You'll see CMMC Foundations and Business Impact. Then we have the follow-up on there on July the 23rd, and then August the 26th. For that series, the last of those things are implementation strategies and common pitfalls. Cybersecurity, but specifically CMMC training, is essential to your business and your future. And we're offering that training as a part of the series of emerging industries and markets. Our AI series will continue after today on June 18th. AI that talks to your customer. July 11th, AI that thinks with you, because you want to really, you're the one, you're the creator, you're the visionary, you're the end all for your business, and you want to kind of dump that information and make it work for you, leveraging technology. And August 20th, build your AI system. We have so our golf tournament that's coming up, and it's business golf. We've been doing it for years, and we do it well. That is on September 14th at Woodmore Country Club. That we do on an annual basis. But QR codes, and Tommy, Vice President at CRMSDC, is going to reiterate some of the stuff at the end. But let's get started on why we are here today. And the person that, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, we're going to talk today, will be taught today rather, by Agnes Kibriki, and she is founder and CEO of experTribe. I want you to help me welcome her as she has kicked off our Inside Emerging Market series live training. And she's someone who spent 25 years at the highest level of global technology consultant at KPMG and Accenture, delivering enterprise systems for Fortune 500 companies across four continents, and then decided to flip the script. In 2019, she founded Expert Tribe to bring that same big firm expertise directly to small and minority-owned businesses. Today, she works hands-on with nonprofits and mission-driven organization, and she puts her money wherever her mouth is, Grantminder, an AI-powered platform helping small organizations find and win funding. She's not here to sell you on AI hype. She lives and breathes this thing. Trust me. She is here as a practitioner, someone who uses AI every single day to run her business. Today's session is called AI as Amplification. And I promise you that you're going to leave with something you are actually going to use. Ladies and gentlemen, Agnes. Hi, Agnes.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here again. And I see that people are in the room, so thank you for attending. Let me first share my screen. And so today we are here to talk about AI for the work that you hate. When we wrapped up last time, um, we ran an audit on your company. Hopefully, those of you who were here last time, you got the handout and there was a brief in there that you were able to go and put your information in and have AI look at your company and figure out, or your business, and figure out where AI could be most useful. And one of the things we found, certainly when we looked at Jasmine, Jasmine is the lady that runs the fictional organization that we use in these sessions. Um, what it showed her is that AI is very good at handling the repetitive work, the things that drain your time, leaving you more time to focus on relationships, figure out what you want to say, figure out how you want to show up. Um, so we're going to dive into that a bit more today. And as we go, let's make sure to ask questions, either raise your hand or put them in the chat. And before we continue, what we're going to do today, we're going to first set up a project so that the project learns your voice over time and makes your workflow more streamlined. So last time we did a brief and we had to keep doing the brief every time we did a chat. I'm going to show you a variation of that. And then once we've set that project up, I'm going to show you 3 demos, 3 ways that you can use the project to help you with repetitive work. Uh, First, how you can use it to draft emails really quickly, then a presentation, and then actually use it to give instructions to other tools. So all from the same project, we'll see how we can do various things in the project. And then by the time you leave today, you'll have a handout with the brief from last time, just in case you weren't here, so you understand what that methodology is, as well as a handout about what we've done today, so you'll be able to leave and set up your own project. Okay, before we proceed, I believe there's a poll. Um, which of these eats up most of your week? Okay, I think we're still going. Looks like 9 people out of the people haven't responded, but we can keep going. So it's pretty evenly split I think meeting follow-ups are the most time-consuming, but otherwise it's email responses, proposals and presentations, admin and invoicing. All of those are mine too. I used to spend a lot of time uh, on busy work, I like to call it. So I'm trying to get rid of this poll. So what we're going to do today is build on last week, but if you weren't here last week, we're going to recap what the brief is, and then move that into a project. So if you remember from last time, brief was is a framework to help you write good prompts for your AI agents, so that you're able to brief them like employees on who you are, what's important to you, set some expectations. So your background, the role you want them to play, the instructions for that particular task, any expectations, expectations around the style of writing, for example, how much to give you at a time. And then invite follow-up so that they're able to, the AI is able to inject some of its knowledge back into your interactions. And last time we just did that in one chat. So every conversation that you had, every chat that you had with Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or whichever agent that you used, you started fresh. So you did the whole brief and then the instructions. And so you had to keep retraining it if you were, as it were. So it was good for us to learn to practice that a few times, but it's harder to sustain. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you that same framework, but this time we're going to put it in a project. So that way, the background, the role, the expectations, and the high-level instructions are at a project level. And so all you have to come in and do is just a quick instruction per task, and all of the rest is already known because it's in the project. The other thing I want to show you is a project is like a container of chats. So we're going to build this up. Today we're going to talk about repetitive tasks. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about helping you think and strategize, and then finally putting it all together. But think about projects as, similar to what you do with SharePoint or Google Docs or Google Drive, but you want them to each have a different goal so that you're able to reuse certain information over and over again and streamline your workflow. So you set it up one time and then you can use it multiple times. Okay, so just to reiterate, in session one, your new hire showed up. It was day one. Now they've been here for a month, right? They know your voice, they know your clients, um, they know what you like and what you don't. So you don't have to keep explaining everything again, but you just need to tell them what you need. And that's essentially the concept behind a project. Both ChatGPT and Claude have projects I've experienced using both, and the other AIs have variations of them. But today I'm going to focus on ChatGPT on Claude, because that's what I mostly use. But the same thing applies to ChatGPT. One caveat is last time we heard about someone had a question about whether brief can work with a GPT. So in ChatGPT, there's this concept of a GPT, which is essentially you can create your own mini AI agent. And you could set it up similar to what we did with projects. The only thing is it does not have a collection of chats in it. So the benefit of a project over a GPT is all of your chats in that project are also available whenever you start a new chat in that same project. It can go back and look at the previous chats that you had in there. Okay. Any questions before we continue?
There are no questions at this time. Thank you.
So I'm now going to pivot to showing you some demos. And what I did is Jasmine, who is our business owner from last time, she owns an HR company called the Handbook Group, and she helps businesses make the most out of their benefits. And so we're going to set up a project for her to help her create presentations, follow up after meetings, chase invoices, yeah, and we'll show you how that works for her business in the project. Um, just so that we are able to, not watch the screen for too long with me typing. I've already set up the project and I'll show you how I did it. And then there's also some conversations in there already for the sake of the demo, but I'll be able to walk you through all of those things as we go. Okay, so first I'm going to show you Jasmine's project. So in this case, I'm in Claude. You can set ChatGPT up the same way, and I believe other platforms as well. And the other thing I'm going to show you is how you can use your project to actually write your brief. Um, a couple of caveats with Claude specifically, you need to be on a paid plan. So you need to be on the pro plan or above, I believe, if you want to set up projects. Um, and the other major thing is maybe not to set up projects, but if you want your projects to learn from other chats in the projects, you definitely want to be on the pro plan. But otherwise, you can set up projects. They just won't, the step where the project learns from the other chats in the project won't happen if you don't have a paid plan. And so essentially, when you come into Claude or ChatGPT, you have the option to to click on projects, which is one of the options on the sidebar, and then you can create a new project. And here you can see I went ahead and created the Handbook HR Business Assistant. And what you can see when you create the project before you have any chats, you have a place to put instructions. You have a place to upload files. So maybe some key business documents, your branding guide, things like that. And then there is a place for project memory. And what happens as your project grows larger and larger, Claude is trying to learn what you do over and over again. And so that's going to end up in memory. And this is automatically updated over time when you have enough chats in there. Today, I'm going to show you instructions. And I'm going to show you how, as you can see, I've put the brief into the instructions. So you can see the background of Jasmine's organization, who she is and her organization, the role that the chats in this project are going to play. This project is a business assistant, so it's going to help Jasmine draft emails, create presentations, write follow-up messages, and think through how to communicate with her clients. It's not, you don't want it to be too clever, right? It's not trying to be a strategist. It's just helping her to execute these tasks faster. There's some expectations around her voice, practical and warm. She doesn't like to lecture. She explains as if she's talking to a smart person, not a student, and a few other things you can see. No M dashes, no jargon, right? Making sure that she gets feedback. So ask questions if something is ambiguous. And then some specific instructions for the emails, right? Some instructions about her sign off, how long she wants those emails to be, the subject lines. And then we also have some expectations around the presentation. So in here, you can see a color scheme, the font, and the tagline. There's also an explanation around prompts, so that she doesn't have to keep rewriting her brief in other prompts. Like if I wanted to go from here to ChatGPT, I could use my assistant to write me the prompt to go paste in ChatGPT to get me what I need out of there. Okay, and as I said, follow-ups. And for this example, I said one clarifying question because I don't want it to go too crazy. But you can also put in here, ask it to interview you, for up to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That's also acceptable. But you can see if you put some time into if you put some thought into your brief and put that into the project, it saves you having to go back and forth each time. Okay, so I'm going to show you two things. One, I'm going to show you converting a prospect and how Claude was able to draft 3 emails over 2 weeks. And then I'm also going to show you an example where we chase an overdue invoice. And the other thing, the main thing to do when you're first starting out with your projects, as well as typing in, in this case, I had taken Jasmine had taken some notes from a discovery call, and she pasted them in here, right? So she said, here are my notes from that discovery call. I would like to email Dana, the CFO, right? How you structure this doesn't matter. So sometimes I just do a stream of consciousness. I just use the microphone and I say, whatever's on my mind or type. And it's actually also pretty bad because it doesn't care about grammar or spelling. So literally how it comes out is how it can process it. But the idea is to give it enough information in terms of an instruction so that it has a starting point. So in this case, she literally copy pasted her meeting notes and then asked for an email. Okay, so it thought for a bit, and you can see the email that was written. And this is a follow-up to the initial call. As you can see, there's like M dashes and a few other things, so we need to correct it. Okay, and then here I am correcting it. So it referenced an attachment, and there was a few other things. So as you're starting out, the emails are probably going to be a bit rough. Just make sure you clarify and you tell it exactly what it did wrong so that it can improve. All right, so this is the second email. Okay, and I gave it one more prompt, right? You're still starting with Dana, etc. Weave it in. I actually should have also told it to not put M dashes in there. Okay, but then when you're happy with your email, you can actually click, in this case, send via Gmail, and it integrates into your email, whether it's Gmail or Outlook, and then all you have to do is put the email address in and send the email. So a much quicker workflow. The time you spend in Claude or in ChatGPT is really refining the email or figuring out how to say it. But once it's written, you literally click on the send email, add the person's address, and it's gone. Okay. So just to recap, we started off with the meeting notes from her meeting. And then we did a couple of refinements on the emails that it wrote until we were happy with them, and then click send via Gmail. A couple of things I'm noticing, I definitely would look at the M dashes again because it seems to have ignored that. But you want to make sure that you always notice what it's doing right and wrong and keep reinforcing it, and you'll see that it will get better over time. Okay, so I sent that first email. And then the next thing we were going to do would be I believe it was the follow-up, right? Okay, yeah. So I now came back. I said it's been a week. Dana hasn't responded. I want to follow up, but I don't want to seem like I'm chasing her, right? Give her a reason to re-engage with me without me making her feel guilty. And, maybe something I can share. Okay. So it came up with this response. I wanted to share something with you. I published this post. No rush. Just let me know when you're ready to reconnect. The feedback I gave it was, I don't like the no rush, right? Because she might then deprioritize. And I don't want to sound too vague. Okay. So it came back and it polished that up for me. Still talked about the LinkedIn post, but now it's more direct, talking about the availability and the openings for next week, um, and a better sign off. Okay, so Jasmine liked this one. And again, all she had to do was click send via Gmail, paste the LinkedIn post in and the email address, and that email was gone. Okay. And then finally, we have one more. She responded, and I pasted the response back in here. And I want to reply. I want to now follow up and ask for a meeting, you know, and, you know, keep them engaged. Okay. This time it had a question for me. Do you have any specific points, or do you want to keep it generic? And it gave me the opportunity. In this case, I had some information that I hadn't shared with it. So it gave me the opportunity to add that information. And now you can see the email that was drafted. Okay. And again, some refinements, and you'll see the reason for these refinements later. Just a quick little tweak, and we were able to send the email, right? So in this demo and in this example, I've shown you how you can go from what's in your head and what you're trying to say to a client, or a response that you got from a client and what you're trying to say or what's going on with that client, to AI helping you write the email. And then all you have to do is hit send via Gmail, put the address in, and the email goes. I find this saves me a lot of time. And then over time, as you'll see, especially if you're in a project, you're able to look back at previous emails that you've sent, but also look at all of the refinements that you made to make it even better. Okay. Any questions so far?
Just one question in the chat. It says, can you remind me how you prevent each of the AI platforms to not learn from your conversations?
Okay, that's a good question. I get that quite a lot. If you click on the bottom left, I believe it is in both of them. And then you click settings. Let me, this somewhere else. I keep moving it. I believe it's in privacy in here. Help improve, yeah. So wherever you see help improve Claude or improve ChatGPT, always make sure that you've toggled that off. So it's not going to use the data that you put in it to help improve the platform, and therefore your data will stay within the platform.
We have another question, Agnes. Is Claude reading the emails, or are we copying and pasting the information into Claude?
I'm copying and pasting the information into Claude. I'm not yet at the point where I will give Claude access to my inbox or Gemini or any of those tools, though you can. So it is possible for you to connect it to your email. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I like to ask it to help me on specific things, but I'm not yet comfortable enough to let it look at my whole, like plug my whole email into it. Okay, so while we're in here, the next thing I wanted to demo was chasing an overdue invoice. So, and over time, so another thing that you can do, and we'll see this when we do the final session, I have folders for my different clients, or, depends how you want to set up your business. But my point is you can also put project files in there. You can have chats where you just talk about the client and orient AI on the client, so that when you're doing things like chasing up for invoices or, chatting later on, the information is already seeded earlier in the project. But in this case, this is the opening the opening prompt, if you will. And in this case, there's a client who's 45 days past due, but they're a good client and we have some work coming up with them. So I want to send them an email to remind them that I haven't paid, but I don't want to be, I don't want to get them angry, right? I want to keep the relationship good because I still need to, you know, hopefully do the work that's coming up. Okay. And so these are the instructions I gave it. This is the original email I sent. I haven't heard back. Um, the guy, Marcus Chen, is my main point of contact. He's usually responsive, so something must be going on. I need a gentle first reminder. Okay. And this is the first email that came back. And it had some gaps in it. So I came back in here and gave that information. So the invoice number and the amount. And then I felt like some of the language was too blunt. So I gave that feedback. And then this is the second iteration of the email. We have the invoice number in there. And it's less, it's more the style of email that I would want to send. So again, just like before, send via email, put the person's email address in, and it's gone. Okay. A couple of days later, the very same day, I heard back from Marcus. He said he'd send it right away, but now it's been 60 days and I still haven't heard, I still haven't been paid. So now I want a firmer one to be drafted. Okay. So it drafted the firmer email. Same thing, I was able to go in and click send via Gmail. And this time, wow. Okay. So this time I wanted to get the next email ready. So I sent it, and if it doesn't work, then the next step is a call, not an email, right? But I wanted to cover my bases, so I drafted the follow-up version just in case, and you can see that here. But the other thing you can see that's happening, um, I sent one email, and nothing happened. I sent the second email. They said that they would pay, and then they didn't, and it's now 60 days later. AI is even saying, hey, maybe it's time to pick up the phone, right? So you're getting some advice as well from your business assistant saying it doesn't look like this email thing is working. But then I'm also gently able to override and say, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying, but help me prepare this final email just in case I need to send it. Okay. And it's also, providing you some feedback, right? About how it structured the email to hopefully get a better result. And so you can see interaction. Hopefully I don't have to use it, fingers crossed, right? So you can keep, in this case, you could keep this thread open. After the phone call, maybe something happened and you want to follow up with something else. This specific chat now has the context of that conversation that you're having around the overdue invoice with this particular client. And you can pick up the conversation whenever you come in here. Okay. So I believe we have a poll question. Latoya, we have a poll, and are there any questions in the chat?
There are no questions at this time.
Oh, and people don't have overdue invoices. It looks like, okay. Well, I hope you still found the example. Okay, no, we have some yeses. Well, if you ever do have an overdue invoice, you can use this to help you figure it out. And I hopefully the people with overdue invoices, maybe this has given you a way to chase them up that's less time consuming. So we had 29% of the people said they had overdue invoices and 71% said no. Okay. So this is a quick prompt, and I'm going to type this one in while we watch. And let me show you something else. So if you look at the chat, I've put a few, there's the examples that we had, but then there's also some other information in here so that when I come in, I'm going to just copy this. So that I don't have to type. I can say, can you search our previous conversations about Meridian? Dana just asked me to resend the ROI, right? So that I don't have to search, what I'm saying to it is we've had these, I'm sure we've had this conversation before. I just need to send her the ROI stats. Could you find them and then draft me an email with the numbers? Okay. And I wanted to show you this in particular. So it goes back now within this project and it's looking through all of the chats, it's found what it needed, and now it's drafting that email. Okay. So Dana had said, hey, could you send me those numbers again? It's turned that around and said, hey, no problem at all. Here are the numbers. Let me know if you have any follow-up. So that's just a really quick email. It looks good to me. So I could copy it and I could reply to the previous email, right? So I'm just going to show you how copy paste works. And you could just paste it in, put the address in and send. So it's already formatted for you to just paste it into your email. Okay, and again, I didn't have to brief. I didn't have to give too many instructions because I had already had that conversation previously. I just had to, give it a little context at the start. Hey, look for previous conversations about Meridian. Dana, who obviously works at Meridian, has a question, and it was able to quickly go do that for me and write me the email. Okay. So now this one is more ambitious. So we just saw the emails. Now I want to move and show you presentation. It's got a bit of a delay. Okay. So we got the green light from Dana from Meridian. We have a 30-minute call with them next Thursday, and I want to pull together a deck for that meeting. It already has the context about Dana and Meridian in the previous chats. And then I'm pasting in the notes from our second conversation. The other thing you can do if you have a meeting note taker, you can paste in the transcript, and you have the option to paste it in either with people's names or without people's names. But that's a really way. If you have your Fireflies or your Otter or any of those meeting note takers, you can actually paste the transcript in here with these instructions and ask it to create that presentation. Okay. It had a clarifying question. So I told it, I want a presentation. Here is the outline that I want. It had a question about slide 5, and I answered that question. And then it went away. And the reason I did this already is it did take quite a while. So it can take quite a while depending on the size of the presentation. But I wanted to show you that it actually came up with a presentation, as you can see, with my color scheme and all of the information. Pretty decent presentation that I could send pretty much right away. Okay, so I believe I had said slide 1. I told it what to do on slide 1, slide 2, and you can see it just went away and did that. So this would usually have taken me a really long time to do. And you can, with the right instructions and the right brief, Claude or ChatGPT can produce, or even Gemini and the other tools, AI can produce something like this for you in a couple of minutes, ready for you to use and send. Then the next thing I wanted to show you was, so now that we have all of this information, there is a tool called Napkin AI that does infographics. And what I wanted to say here was, okay, I want to create an infographic that I can include in the email. And I'm going to use this tool called Napkin AI to generate it. Can you create me a prompt for Napkin AI? And so you can see, based on everything it knows and what we've discussed, it went away and it created me this this brief for a tool called Napkin AI. And the way I found out about Napkin AI, I did some research, and in a separate chat, I told it what I was trying to do, and it recommended Napkin AI, which I had never used before, by the way. And I'm just going to quickly show you that. So this is what I put in Napkin AI. And what you can do is once you've put all your instructions in, you can hit generate visuals. And I came up with a visual. I can actually show you. It's going to go away and do another one. And then you have an option to decide which visual you want. The thing I'm trying to show you here is if you're trying to create content, pictures, words, emails, you don't have to spend time on how it looks, right? You spend time on figuring out what it should say, and think about who you want to say it to, and the visuals themselves, the PowerPoints, the infographics, what goes in the email, that can be handled for you really easily by ChatGPT or Claude or one of your other AI tools. I don't want to feel like I'm promoting one. I just happen to do a lot of work in Claude. Okay. Let's see. I did want to show you one more thing. So now you can see we have like 6 chats. And as you keep working, you're going to have a lot more than 6. But what I wanted to show you that you can do, okay, a very quick prompt at the start. And you don't even have to say, you know how I say here, we've worked on sales emails, etc., etc. This was just for this training, but you could literally say, search through our previous conversations based on what you find, based on what you find out, tell me how I should update my project instructions. Okay, so remember I kept saying, make sure you give it the feedback, make sure you correct it, especially early on. Once you've done that a couple of times, you can tell it to go back and look at all the times that you've corrected it. And what I said is, based on that, can you help me update my project instructions? Okay. So it's gone through, looked at all of my chats, and it's making some observations about my voice and language corrections, the things I keep repeatedly telling it to do, the editing preferences, etc. Right? So it's gone and basically done an analysis of the feedback that I've given it. And then at the end of this, I have an updated set of project instructions. So again, you can copy this and replace the existing project instructions with these ones. The expectations have grown. And we have email escalation logic, client communications, a few additional things that we didn't have before. So the lesson here is your brief, the first brief you use, doesn't have to be so comprehensive, right? You might not know everything that you wanna tell it, so don't be daunted. But what you can do is periodically keep going back and checking, so that over time, it learns from the conversations, but also it helps you write a better brief. The other thing that's going to happen over time is it's going to update its own memory so that the more you use that project, the better it gets at giving you what you need. Okay. So, some things to note about the instructions, the updated instructions that Claude wrote. It added a banned phrases list so that it didn't keep putting the same thing in. And it noticed an email escalation pattern as well. Okay. Um, are there any questions?
Thank you, Agnes. We do have a few questions. So, Sandra would like to know, why do you prefer Claude over ChatGPT or other large language models for this task?
I do a lot of coding, and I find that Claude Code is works really well for me. So that was one thing that led me to shift. At one point, I had both ChatGPT and Claude, so that I could compare them. And I'd still say ChatGPT is better for creative stuff, though Claude is catching up. But for me and my style, I'm pretty straightforward, pretty practical. I do a lot of coding. I find that Claude is pragmatic, you know, but especially for emails, you might find that ChatGPT puts together words better. But Claude, I feel sounds like more like me. So that's why I use Claude. But especially with all of the updates that they're doing, um, they're very close to each other, and Gemini and all the rest of them. What I'd say is pick one. Maybe when you're starting out like I did, try two side by side. And then when you fall into a rhythm with one, maybe stick with that one. But periodically, just like I did with Napkin, ask it, for what I'm doing, is there a better tool out there? Is there a better way to use you? Um, and yeah, but I think what happens over time when you do what I just showed you, where you have projects upon projects, then one tool is more familiar and it knows you better, so then you stick to that tool. So I guess Anthropic won because I'm stuck in Claude more than ChatGPT.
Thank you, Agnes. And Mr. Kenneth Clark would like to know, well, he says that some people would say with all this back and forth with Claude, they could have written the emails themselves. How do you see Claude as a time-saving tool?
So I personally would take much longer if I had to start with a blank page on that email than I did with Claude. Also, I appreciated the feedback. How it jumped in after the third email and said, "Hey, maybe at this point you want to call instead of sending an email." The other thing that I used to get a lot of feedback on was that my tone can be a bit abrupt. And especially when, you have a lot going on and you're just responding to emails and responding to emails, I think it feels good to have what it feels like an extra set of eyes to make sure that I'm striking the right tone. I'm not, accidentally insulting people. The other thing, especially over time, it has memory of everything that I previously did with that client. So I'm not having to go back and look through the previous emails to remember what I said. I can just start the chat and say, "Hey, look at what I said to Dana last time. She's now asked me this," and then help me draft the email. So I think given all of that, I still find um, Claude for me streamlines my emails much more and makes it much quicker than if I was doing it myself.
Awesome. We do have a few more questions. Ola would like to know, do you use or like Copilot at all?
Um, I find that Copilot feels to me like a slimmed down version of ChatGPT. That being said, though, I'm a small business owner, so I don't have that much on SharePoint. I'm not working across Teams. I use Teams I use Office 365 for small businesses, right? So I think Copilot comes into its own when it's within an enterprise that uses Microsoft because it has access to all of the SharePoint, your emails, other PowerPoint presentations that you've written. So the volume of data, especially if you're sharing data across teams, makes it much better. But I think for my scenario, I don't tend to find it that useful. But if your team is on Microsoft a lot, then I think Copilot becomes a better option for you.
Thank you, Agnes. We have one more question for you. Do you have to buy a napkin or is it a free addition to Claude?
It's its own AI software, and no, you don't. The thing I find as a small business owner is a lot of these platforms have a free tier. There is a platform I use to send out emails, and as long as you're sending less than 100 emails a day, that's free. So a lot of these tools start off with a free tier, and for a small business owner, you can pretty much do what you need to within that free tier. So same thing with Napkin. If you hit a certain volume, then you have to pay, but until then, it's free. So it gives you the opportunity to, use these tools for your business without spending so much money, but also to try them out before you decide which one you want to pay for. And you can actually use one tool to recommend the other tools as well. Okay. I believe we have a poll at this point. Okay. So we just saw four different ways that we can use the business assistant that I set up. Which would you say would save you the most time? Ken, I know you don't think emails, but maybe there's something else. Okay, I still see the answers coming in. Oh, wow. Okay, some people say none. So far, I see PowerPoints. Yep, PowerPoint presentations, and that tracks with me. PowerPoint presentations. I used to take a really long time doing PowerPoints, getting the icons right, getting the text right. So it saves a lot of time. And for me, emails was always a challenge. Emails and PowerPoints, because the first thing was when I started off with a blank sheet of paper and a head full of ideas, I didn't know how to structure them. So I find that these tools help me. For the person that said none of the above, um, I'm interested to know. It would be interesting to catch up with you and see. I don't know if it's maybe how I demonstrated it, or you might have a workflow that I need to learn, because certainly for me, the PowerPoints are the biggest time saver. And I'm agreeing with most of the group. Okay. So we are nearly there. I did quite well today, I guess. Okay. So just to recap what happened with that demo, we set up one project and we briefed at the project level, and we were able to get a variety of different outputs from that one project, from the role of business assistant. Okay. So um, it prompting can be time consuming and take a lot of time, but if you structure the prompt well and you put it in the project at the project level, then your everyday chats can be quick. You don't have to keep briefing it every time. The other thing to note, if you're on a paid plan, the other thing to say is I find that Opus 4.6 or 4.7 is better than Sonnet in Claude terms at looking through previous chats and finding out what you said. So if you set it up and you find that it's not working, I would look at the model that you're using and pick one of those. The other thing to say is ChatGPT works slightly differently, where it creates its own project memory bank as using an aggregation of what it's learned in the chat. So it's slightly different, but you still get similar results. And the third thing is you do need to spend some time setting up the project and tweaking it, and especially with those early chats, you need to refine the chats and refine the input. But it pays off because later on, right, the 20th and the 30th email is much better than the first couple that you wrote, especially if you're periodically asking it to to grade itself and improving the instructions. Okay. I wanted to take a quick moment and talk about something else that's happening in the AI landscape. I don't know if you noticed, I believe it was this week, but it might have been last week, that Claude has launched AI for small businesses this week. And I believe ChatGPT and the others are following closely behind. And what's now starting to happen is there's direct integration into your email, your invoicing, your calendar, Canva. So the copy paste step is going away. You know, like for example, when I did the email, I just had to click send email and it went straight to my Gmail. That's going to happen even more. I know with Claude, if you have a CRM, for example, you can ask it to look at your pipeline and help you clean out your pipeline. You can do this is co-work. You know, you can do scheduled jobs, etc. So these tools are getting much better at removing the busy work so that you can focus on the relationship building, the strategic thinking, and all of the pieces that you know you never have time to get to because you're focusing on the busy work. Um, the bigger thing though is think about what the value that your business is providing and focus on improving that value, right? Especially where you're interfacing with clients and building relationships, because the other stuff is being automated really quickly. You know, the content creation, the paralegal work is one of the things that's going away as well. So all of this stuff that is content heavy is being automated. The thing that is unique to you that makes you valuable is essentially how you see the world, how you interact with other people and businesses. And I view it as a moment to think about your business in that context and see where you have to shift your focus, so that you're providing those types of services to your clients or thinking about how your business can do that, because all of this other work is being automated really quickly. Are there any other questions or thoughts?
There are no questions. Thank you.
Okay. So following this session, there's going to be a handout. Last time we did a brief, the full demo of the brief. So that's going to be in the handout. And we're going to build on with the project template, and also the prompts that I use to build that template and make it better, right? And the thing to say is at least get started. Don't aim to make it perfect on day one, right? Because the tool itself will help you to refine that brief, and make it better. And also find your own rhythm with how you work with it, right? So maybe certain types of emails don't make sense for you, um, you know, but there might be others, or maybe your focus is PowerPoint presentations, or helping you think through meeting minutes and how to respond. So find your own rhythm with the tool and find your own, the more you use it, the better it's going to get. So it might feel challenging at the start, but stick with it because by the time you've done 10, 15 and you're in your rhythm, you're gonna be thankful that you have a tool like this. Okay, and as I was saying before, you can set it up so that AI can handle the noise and all the background stuff so that you can show up fully for the people who matter. Okay. And the other thing, and we started to see it creep back in, the M dashes, and there's certain phrases that are really AI sounding. Um, Now that you have a tool that can automate, your PowerPoint presentations, your LinkedIn posts, your emails, um, what we're going to talk about next week is how to make sure that it sounds like you, right? And things to watch out for. You still have to check it before you post it or before you send it. Um, to make sure that it's representing you fully and you're not just taking the default that AI gives you. So we're going to talk about that a bit more next month in session 3. And we're going to go deeper into your voice and authenticity, how to set expectations, but also some work that you have to do and create artifacts and things to add to that project so that it knows your voice and how you want to sound. Okay. And before we leave, I would like to thank the CRMSDC for making this possible, the US Small Business Administration for funding the series, and you for showing up and taking time to learn something new. And finally, as well as teaching, I build. Sharon mentioned GrantMinder. It's a tool that I've built that helps small businesses and nonprofits find grants and actually write the first draft for you so that you have more shots on goal and you can win more grants. The second thing I do is I help businesses think through how to implement custom AI systems and workflows to make them even more efficient. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Agnes. Thanks very much. So I'm Tommy Marks. I'm the Vice President, Council Engagement at the Council. And on behalf of our President and our whole team, we want to thank you for joining us with session 2 as we continue. Don't forget, if you can say the date, June the 4th at the Baltimore Convention Center, Small Business Advancement Conference by the City of Baltimore, and we're collaborating and partnering with them, and there'll be a number of large and small businesses there on the exhibit floor, and a number of professional development, business related sessions that one can attend. The AI series, the next one is the June the 18th. The registration is out there. In fact, those 3 AI sessions and 3 CMMC sessions are on our website and all have registration links, so you can register now before we run out of tickets. We're looking forward to you coming back. And in September, we have our annual golf classic at the Country Club at Woodmore, and it's a business outing, and it's a great day of fun and business as both corporations and the companies hit the links out at Woodmore. So again, thanks very much for attending. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you at our next one on June the 18th.